Good morning and happy Saturday! You might notice I'm being a little tiny bit quieter than normal, and that is because it is 7 a.m. my time, and trying to keep it down a little bit in case anybody is still sleeping because it is Saturday. And we've got my uncle and aunt downstairs, parents upstairs, and so trying to kind of appease everybody by not being too loud first thing in the morning. So, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Just a heads up, today is going to be a shorter stream. I will be ending in about 2 hours. And then my uncle, aunt, mom, dad, and I are all going to go out to lunch with some family of my uncle and aunt from my aunt's side of the family, if I remember correctly. So, it'll be fun. It's going to be a good day. Well, not necessarily lunch at 9, but like getting ready to go to where we're going to be having kind of a lunch brunch. And so, because the place we're going is clear, not necessarily clear across town, but it might as well be. And so we're kind of doing an early lunch at about 11. So I'm going to end at 9, just so that way I can make sure that I'm all set to go. I can hang out with the family a little bit beforehand, because we're going to be leaving for that place at around 10:30ish. And so, because I don't get to see my uncle and aunt very often in person, I am like, you know what, we are going to make sure that we make the most of this. And so, that is why we're ending at 9. So it'll be a little bit shorter of a stream today. It's also why we're starting earlier, because if I started at my normal 8 o'clock time, it would only be an hour. I wanted to give you guys at least 2. And so, woke up about an hour ago, kind of eased into the day, had my caffeine-infused protein shake, and it was really, really good. Got my water right here, ready and waiting. And yeah, it'll be good. How was your guys' week? What was the highlight from the week? I would say my highlight had to be hanging out with Soul on Thursday and just hanging out, going to karaoke. I sang the song Breakfast by the Newsboys, and then I sang Slippin' Through My Fingers because there weren't quite as many people as I was expecting to be there. Ooh, a long week, but the highlight was going to the high school game last night. Nice! Who won? Did your school win? Or your alma mater? Did your alma mater win? My alma mater actually ended up winning last night. Oh, yay! I'm so glad you guys won! That is amazing. Oh, that's when you know it was good. That's when you know it was good. When you're like, yeah, we didn't just win. We clobbered them. 41-19. Oh my gosh. Let me see what our score was, because I know we won. Let's see. There we go. And then we need Fútbol Americano. ¿Dónde está? Allá está. We have switched to Spanish, apparently. It was merciless. They should have called the game. It was 34-0 before halftime. Singing Breakfast with me, Breakfast at Karaoke with me was your highlight. I'm so glad. And getting In-N-Out. Oh my gosh, that burger was so good. We won 42-14. 42-14. Now, I'm curious. Looking up the name of the school that we played. Trying to figure out how many students they have. They have 800 and... last school year, they had 862, which is like probably double how many my high school has. So they've got way more people than we do. And we still managed to beat them. They're a bigger school and we beat them. Metaphorically, rolling in that 20 on surviving your first AutoCAD exam was another. Exactly. Dude, Soul, you are rocking that degree. I did see that, Lady Foes. Well, that is fair. While that is fair, typically the bigger schools are harder to beat. It's why they, I think that's why they divide them into the divisions that they do, at least in my opinion. I'm like, you don't want little tiny 1A playing big huge 5A, because the 5A is going to attract the better players. And so typically the 5As have more students because it's because bigger schools mean more players. That makes sense. More players doesn't always mean better. That's fair. It just always surprises me when we beat the bigger schools. That is true. I do need to see Facing the Giants again. I saw that one like years ago. And Remember the Titans, anybody? Remember the Titans? But Facing the Giants is so good. Oh my gosh, do I have that DVD? Do I have that DVD somewhere in here? Let's see. Aha. I do. I found this about maybe a couple years ago. It has Courageous, Overcomer, Fireproof, War Room, Facing the Giants, and Flywheel. Has all the DVDs. Oh, yeah. That would be amazing if we could make... I will definitely see what I can do to make that happen. And then we could, discuss after. Galaxy, thank you so much for the lurk, my friend. I appreciate you. You have all of them except Overcomer. Maybe that's the one we start with. Oh, man. R.I.P. Mandisa. Oh, that movie's gonna probably make me cry when Mandisa sings Overcomer. Oh, I love that song so much. You're doing well grade-wise, but with your profession... Blah. It's early, guys. My tongue is not fully awake yet, apparently. But with my perfectionist tendencies and steep learning curve for SolidWorks, it feels like a bit of a roller coaster sometimes, and I can understand that. I can totally understand that. Sometimes it feels that way with cybersecurity, because I've never really, dug deep into anything tech-wise, because I've just kind of accepted I'm not going to understand the intricacies of this machine right down here. This computer, and figuring out all the different aspects of it. But I'm understanding a lot more than I thought. But I also understand that steep learning curve where, you have to watch the videos over and over again. Oh, yes, you guys. If you if you would like, if you would like an amazingly smelled house, give Lady Foes a message. Because right now she's got a bunch of different things going on in her Scentsy thing. Business, there we go. Business, Scentsy business. The word finally came. Brain is finally loading. And I got myself a Boo basket, which has a mini Scentsy warmer, 2 scents of the Scentsy wax, which melts in the mini Scentsy warmer. And it's going to be amazing. Like, you get to pick from a bunch of different scents. Like, they've got, like, different apple ones, pumpkin ones, all kinds of amazing scents. And I'm excited to get mine. So if you want your house to smell absolutely amazing, give Lady Foes a holler, because she will hook you up with some amazingly scented stuff. And I'm going to be honest, you guys, I was like, oh man, I am not so sure, like, how overpowering these scents are going to be. She put my mind at ease. Exactly, I do. Let me pull up that message. With thee, we're gonna copy link. There you go. There's the link to the party. Anything that you buy, go ahead and connect it to that party. Like Lady Foe said, I get rewards. And it's awesome. It is awesome. I've got some of Scentsy's lotions. I've got some of their cleaning products. And I'm excited to check out the wax warmers because they're smokeless, but they still smell amazing. And so I'm hopeful that means that if I have them in the comfort of my own bedroom or my own bathroom, they will not set off Dad's allergies. I am hopeful. And the whiff box. Your waxes don't burn. There we go. Exactly. They melt. The whiff box, yes. And I'm excited for that whiff box because the whiff box is going to be a surprise of the month, basically, from my understanding of how it works. They kind of have like a theme for the month, but you don't necessarily know what products within that theme you're gonna get. Am I interpreting that correctly, Lady Foes? But definitely feel free to check it out. Exactly, the customers don't know. There we go. There's our proof right there. The lady, Scentsy lady herself has spoken. They've got like a bunch of different things within that line. And then they pick at random. One of the reasons that you're so sleepy is the last SolidWorks drawing was giving you a run for your money. Your professor made a tutorial, but the software was not playing nice. Oof. Software not playing nice. Oh man. That is the worst. The worst. Was it about as bad as when we were at the library? You followed the lesson exactly, but for whatever reason, the drawing kept breaking on you, throwing up a ton of error messages and being a pain in the butt to work with. Why? I don't know how exactly. It took a good 45 minutes to get through that one. That one step. Oh, gosh. Oh, man, that is frustrating, especially when you don't know why it's doing what it's doing. Because when you don't know why it's giving you the error messages and you're like, but I'm following the steps my professor gave exactly, it's easy to be like, excuse me, why are we being this way, SolidWorks? Like, why? would be frustrating for me too. I'm like, dude, come on, SolidWorks, get your act together. Come on. You guys, guess what? So my church has our anniversary picnic tomorrow. So I pre-bowled with my bowling league team, and I got my very first turkey. Now, for those of you that don't know, are not familiar with bowling terms, a turkey is 3 strikes in a row. Now, the funny thing is, I looked it up. If you get 3 spares in a row, that is called a chicken. But when I got my turkey, I was like, I am so used to getting 2 in a row and then being what we call like 1 to 2 feathers short on the next ball. And I'm like, oh man. And so then when I actually got the turkey, I was so excited. My other teammates didn't have to remind me to do the turkey dance. I just automatically went into my turkey dance. It was amazing. It was amazing. Oh man. But you guys, since this is going to be a shorter stream and I want you guys to be able to experience at least some of Cholerax Malice, I would love to be able to just dive right into prayer right now. And then we'll dive into the game and we can continue this amazing conversation. If you have any prayer requests, please feel free to drop them in chat, and I will be more than happy to pray over them. Dear Lord, thank you so much for today. Thank you for your love, your mercy, your forgiveness, even when we don't deserve it, Lord. I ask that you be with each and every person here, be with those on the East Coast as they are recovering from the hurricane. Let the rescue efforts go smoothly, let the relief efforts go smoothly, and let things that need to get done be able to be done. I ask your protection over everybody there too. I pray for lady foes and atafoes and sweet little baby foes, that you be with all of them there as they prepare for the arrival of baby foes. Let baby foes, be strong and healthy, Lord. I ask that you be with Lady Foes at work today. Let her be able to be productive and get the things done that she needs to get done. I know that going to work on a Saturday is no fun, so I ask that you give Lady Foes a way to make it fun, Lord. I pray for Soul, that you be with her and her relationship with her dad. Let there be better communication, respect for boundaries, and just a restored relationship there, Lord. I ask that you help her with her SolidWorks assignment, help her be able to figure out what's going on with it and how to best make those drawings, and help her with her driving anxiety, help her just get more confident in her driving skills. And even if she doesn't love driving, let her be able to at least tolerate it without having to feel that fear, Lord. Your word says you have not given us a spirit of fear, and so I pray that over Soul, that you just remove that fear surrounding driving. I pray for STL, that he and his wife and in-laws are able to settle in to their new place together. They're able to get everything unpacked and ready to go. Be with his headaches and his other physical and mental health stuff, Lord. And be with Phelan and his headaches and his relationship with his family, Lord. Be with Kishu on her birthday. Give her the best birthday ever, Lord, and help life just be able to slow down and be with her unspokens, Lord. I pray for just a little spark and her healing as well, Lord. For Bayo, as he's at work today, let him be able to be a light. I pray that you just be with him in his just life as things that he's going through, that you just be with him. I pray for Legend of Zyro and everything he and his family are going through, that you just be with them and walk with them through it all, Lord. I pray for DLC, that you be with them, or with us, and let us know when the time is right to come back, and let us know how you want us to come back, Lord. I ask that you be with his little kitty and all of the stress that she's going through. Be with Dusty and his stress levels, and be just with anybody who is struggling physically, whether illness or injury. Be with anyone who's suffering mentally from any mental health issues. I ask that you just be with us as we go through this game. Let us just be able to have fun and be able to just have a good time of fellowship. And in your name I pray. Amen. Oh no, it was way worse than when you were at the library. Usually it's just a matter of getting the points to stick with logic. This point is horizontally aligned with that one. So there we go. This time around it was a different issue. Oh. Gotcha. Alright, there's my... It was right in front of me. I'm used to it being under my little desk thing. Alright, you guys, we are gonna play some Collar X Malice. And you know what? I am actually amazed that there is a category for this. We're gonna keep the game off, or sound off, while I get to the point, because I don't want you guys... There we go. Okay. Alright, now we should be able to turn this up. Okay. We're going to go ahead and start a new game. Yes, we'll keep the name. Now, just so you guys are aware, this is not exactly a family-friendly game. We need to bear that in mind. The games I am playing for Spooktober are not exactly family-friendly. Once this month is over, we will be going back to our family-friendly games. And so if not family-friendly is not your cup of tea, that is A-okay. But just wanted to make you guys aware, this is a rather intense game. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Alright. We'll go with the prologue. Yeah, they don't pull any punches. They start you off right away with the intensity. If the game's too loud, let me know. If it's too much louder than me. Oh, I'm probably getting double audio. There we go. Didn't want you guys getting double audio of that. So, report of X-Day incidents, April 1st. The video that started all this played on the giant screen facing Shinjuku train station. In order to restore tainted Japan to health, the countdown to X Day will now begin. Our objective is simple: purge the corruption from the land and make Shinjuku the site of its rebirth. If you are afraid, then leave this land. We will not be stopped. But know this, no matter where you are, you will be judged. There are no exceptions. We will resurrect truth in this world. No longer will only the weak be persecuted. Some people appearing to be police officers were tied up in the videos. Police are working frantically to trace the broadcast. And then, prior to the broadcast, a number of officers had been reported missing. The transmission origin and the officers were never found, and then May arrived. Another video showing the bound officers, like the one in April, was uploaded. Somehow the Animal Crossing voice is creepier than the first one. Thank you for waiting, everybody. The time for judgment is at hand. As we mentioned before, the people here are criminals. In order to cure Japan, such people must be exterminated. Judgment has been passed as a preview of X Day. This is not the end. Henceforth, we will continue to mete out justice to aid our nation's rebirth. Our name is Adonis. Or hello there, Bond5X. How are you? How did you find the channel? Thank you so much for the follow. Hear me well, listeners. Make sure that you remember this name, okay? May this world become a paradise. And the shots rang out, and the officers were killed. Oh yes, very much PG-13. Very much so. So I'm thinking this one is probably one that we might not finish on stream, but I will definitely finish off stream. So we'll see how far we get in the next few weeks. Okay, we're not gonna go so fast. Okay, here we go. I want you guys to catch all this, and I need to catch all this too. Then, on September 1st, exasperated by the repeated incidents, the government enacted extreme measures. The Shinjuku Quarantine Act. This measure, intended to trap the criminals within the borders of Shinjuku, obviously drew the wrath of the public. Demonstrations bordering on riots broke out, but the government suppressed them and stated that it was for Shinjuku's safety. The government didn't stop there. It also adopted unprecedented extra-legal measures. Repeal of the Sword and Firearms Control Law. To provide citizens a means of defense, firearms were provided to all people over the age of 20 within Shinjuku. It was all under the pretext of self-defense. Excuse me, sorry, didn't mean to burp in your guys' ear. The firearms and ammo were all coded in order to quickly determine a shooter's identity whenever a weapon was discharged. The criminals have guns, so the people should be given equal access to equal arms. Thus, as an extra-legal measure, the residents of Shinjuku District exclusively have an obligation to fire or to carry firearms. The law, ratified behind closed doors, was suddenly announced to the public. The police had to obey the government's mandate, and the unrest of the citizens trapped within Shinjuku swelled. Though upset, one could say that the citizens were now better suited to survive other incidents. It was obvious this plan was full of holes. But there was no turning back. On X Day, all would be reborn in order for their utopia to become reality. Here we go. Now we get to enjoy the theme song. I'm just going to turn it down a bit in my ears. There we go. What you could do is aim to finish the first round and come back to it later. Okay, that makes sense. Getting the post-route feels out of your system. Yes, you have reached the SRCPO.
ああ、その声は星野さんでしょ。また銃を持った男がうろついてるのよ。早く来てちょうだい。
Got another call. Ah, okay. Maybe I'll put myself up here. There we go. Was it that granny again?
その顔はまた押し切られたんだろう。お前な、これで何度目だ
？Let's...
いいか、
Okay.
星野。今までのことを思い出してみろ。通報を受けて駆けつけても怪しいと思ったけど気のせいだったとか、来てもらうまでもなかったとか、悪びれずに言われて何度俺たちが肩透かしを食らったことか。
I mean, that's fair, but if it is the bad guys, if it is that Adonis group, then that would mean that they could probably disappear by the time they get there. So she could have seen them, and then they ran away. And she is right. We can't just assume. We have to act as though it is real.
Hoshino, お前は冷静だな。とても警察官になって半年の新人とは思えないぞ。
I'd forgotten she was only on there for 6 months. She's that new?
ああ、俺が入りたての頃なんてもっと必死でちょとつ猛進というかがむしゃらに突っ走ってただけだからな。
That explains why she's working with him. She's still kind of in training.
いや、 今は特防として苦情には平謝り、嫌味を言われても平謝りな日々だ。昔だったらすぐに頭に血が上ってたぞ。俺も随分大人になったもんだ。
I will say, one thing I like in Jack Jean over this is that the mouths in Jack Jean move. I do really like the fact that the mouths move to let you know, especially when multiple characters are on the screen, you kind of have a reference other than the name on the dialogue. It just makes it feel more real when the mouths are moving, you know what I mean?
しかし特防は X デー事件の捜査をさせてもらえるわけじゃないからな。それだけが残念だ。
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. With it being newer, they've got newer technology they can work with, which would allow them to do that. So, that does make sense. Alright, I'm going to type this in chat so that way we have it as a reference. There we go. That way we have that as a reference for anybody who comes in later, and we can kind of refer back to that if we see them, because they're going to refer to it just by the initials. Oh, there we go. Shinjuku is a hive of animosity and distrust, so it's not safe to go for a leisurely stroll. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. To me, it just adds something to the experience, having the mouths move. But I also really like the art in this. Like, I love the details on their uniform, for example. Love it. Love the details in the hair, the eyes, you can see the emotions. And I love that. Usually when we get a report, we'll hear about how people don't trust the police. But it still looks like there are some people who rely on the police.
そうだな。あんまりあのばあさんを待たせるわけにもいかないし。行くか。
Yes, sir.
今日も今日とてただ単に人相が悪い男がうろついてただけだったわけだな。
For sure, it adds to the experience to me. Exactly. I love the uniqueness of the art style. Love it. Love it. Like, if you were to see this art style in Jack Jean, it wouldn't fit. But if you were to see Jack Jean's art style in this, it wouldn't fit. They really did a great job of matching the art style to the story. And I love that.
あのばあさん、お前が話を聞くといつも帰る頃には安心した顔してるよな。
Well, she lives alone, so I don't think she has anyone else that she can count on. She looks kind of scary, but sometimes she talks about her grandchild. I'm sure that she's actually a kind person.
そういうのもお前が相手だから話そうって思えるのかもな。子供やお年寄りから話を聞くのはお前の方が適任だ。俺はどうも相手が話してる途中で口を挟みたくなるんだよな。
And I see both sides. I see the just the facts ma'am side, because as somebody who was in training to be a call taker, we don't necessarily need all the rambling. We've got to be able to get the person to get us the details we need to get the officers out there. And so I'm sure the same applies once the officers get there, if they're just like, oh man, I just need the facts so we can get to this. I'm sure there are other officers out there that are like that. But then I'm sure there are other officers like our main character here, Ichika, that really want to and value listening to the whole thing and are able to really pick out what is relevant to the case. I have to agree, Mochida is pretty much exactly like that.
おい、星野、ここは否定するところだぞ。
Oh, sorry.
お前な、後輩なら少しは先輩を立てろって傷つくだろ。
You can kind of tell he's teasing, but also a little bit hurt at the same time. Like, the little bit of a smile says I'm teasing you, but at the same time, like, oh boy. Mochida is my superior, but he always treats me like we're equals, so I really feel like I can just be myself around him. I thought the police force would have a strict pecking order, so that was a big relief. Though I'd never admit that to his face.
おい、あんたたち警察だよな。ずいぶん暇そうじゃねえか。
Huh? I turned to face the voice behind me. A vexed man with a gun glared at me.
俺たちが新宿に閉じ込められたのってさ、警察が無能なせいだろ。
Exactly. The city's on lockdown. There's a terrorist group going around killing people. Everybody has guns over the age of 18. And everyone's scared. I would be scared. I'd be absolutely terrified.
責任取って今この場で土下座しろよ。できるよな。でねえと。
One of the men raised his gun at me.
やめとけ。
I love the way that was read. I want to hear that one more time. Oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, okay. Which button is it? Because we gotta go back. We gotta go back. I pressed the wrong button.
もう助かる。あいつらも根は悪い奴らじゃないと思うんだ。
There it is. Okay, we're gonna go back. We were... There we go. We'll be right here. There we go. I love that. I love that. There we go. Move the stick up to get to the backlog. Okay. Mochida! I accidentally pressed the button to go fast forwarding through everything, and I'm like, no, we're missing too much.
お前、そいつを離せ。
銃による脅迫には刑罰が下される。お前たち知っててこんな真似してるのか？
それは。
だったらなんだって言うんだよ。文句あるのか？
俺は言い訳をするつもりはない。見たところ遊びたい盛りだろう。それなのにこんな事態に巻き込んだのは警察として申し訳ないと思う。しかしな、その鬱憤を晴らすために誰かを傷つけようとするな。
Exactly. He's basically saying, I get that you're scared. I get that you feel like we could do more. Find a more productive way to take out that anger. Good morning, Weaver Wolf. How are you and happy Saturday?
その銃は身を守るために使うものだ。武器として扱うのは許さん。
This is true. So far, so good. The caffeine is hitting, so I feel more awake and excited for what the day has in store. We'll be ending in about an hour and 14 minutes, and then spending the day with family.
Soれでいい。
What are your plans today?
こんなところでつるんでないで、もう帰る。
Good morning, Electro. How's it going? Hope you're doing well.
いいか、一般人相手に同じ真似はするなよ。二度目はないぞ。
And off they run.
すまん星野。今の奴らのことは。
So far, so good. I would say I'm at about 90 to 95% awake. Probably work on homework, but after that, don't know. Hey, there we go. What homework do you have today? I'm trying to give you guys a little time to read through this. Would you prefer to be able to read through this and imagine the voice in your own, on your own, in your head? Or would you prefer that I read the parts that are not voiced? Ooh, game design, another homework. Nice! What's the homework for game design? Are you working on a game? I remember you mentioning in Lotu's stream, I think. Good morning, Dusty. How's it going? Yeah, Twitch has been really weird about notifications lately. There have been times that I haven't gotten notifications either. And I'm like, dude, Twitch, why? Just your RPG and board game. Love it! Whenever you're ready to have that beta tested, I would absolutely love to check it out. Hey, there we go. That's good. I like that they were able to get all of the guns numbered so that way they could know, okay, this number is associated with this person. So at least it gives them a starting point. You know what I mean? They can go to that person and be like, okay, was it you or did somebody manage to get a hold of your weapon?
頼もしくなったな。銃を向けられても冷静に状況を見て行動できてる。
Yeah, I would assume that's something you just kind of get used to the longer you're on the force. It's like you don't want to have to get used to it, but you know that you do, and so you just adapt. And are able to assess. Oh, good. I'm glad that your dad called. So they have power, but no internet or phone. Okay. Gotcha. So did he have to go to another town for cell service? I mean, that's fair. Mochida does make a good point.
それにこういう時くらい先輩らしいところを見せないとな。
Aw, the carefree laugh. I love it. Gotcha. Well, I'm so glad that he's okay and was able to get a hold of you. I'll bet that was a huge load off your shoulders. Sounds like an intense commotion. It gives them a starting point, but realistically, if Adonis was committing a bunch of heinous crimes before the government handed out traceable firearms, it's kind of silly to think that being able to track them would be enough to stop them. That is fair. That is a good point. That is a very good point. But it would give, like, while Adonis wouldn't necessarily abide by the rules because they haven't in the past, why would they now? It's one of those things where they could be like, okay, and it could even help as far as identifying the victim, because if they have that with them but they don't have a form of ID on them, they could more easily identify the victim, and that could allow them also to, like, I don't know that necessarily that the goal was to be able to necessarily stop Adonis as much as give people a sense of you can defend yourself. You know what I mean? Like, the goal, I think, was to give them a means of being able to protect themselves from Adonis. But yet, by the same token, they recognize Adonis isn't going to play by the rules. So let's give ourselves a bit of a leg up to be able to be at least a comparable level. You know what I mean? Like, Adonis is always going to up the game. But if we were here, we can at least be about here. You know what I mean? It was more to close the gap as far as, because as far as we know, the only weapon they've used is a gun. They used a gun to kill the officers, and, you know, all of them had one thing in common. And so if they were able to... Yeah, basically. And now that you're in game design, your brain looks at video games differently. I love it. So what have you noticed as far as game design lately? What are some of the biggest, like, eye-opening things you've learned about games and game design? That's true. They also did bombings and other stuff, but they'll go over the cases in detail later. Exactly. how's it going, Vocal Duck? Good morning, and happy Saturday! So in this game, we are playing a police officer who is investigating a group called Adonis that has decided to take it upon themselves to clear the crime in Japan and clear all the people out that they deem to be evil. And so now they are... Oh, we've got an ad break coming up here in a minute. So basically now the police have said, okay, if you are over 18, you can have a gun to defend yourself, because they're trying to close the gap between Adonis and the everyday man. And so because of that, now there's all other kinds of crime, because people are maybe, they're still uncomfortable with everything going on. And so, yeah. So you guys, we have an ad break coming up in about 10 seconds. So those of you that are not subbed, you're gonna get a few ads for about a minute. And then I think I have it set to about every half hour, roughly. So you learn more about the different parts of video games that you had understanding on, and that you look at video games and come up with ideas for the video games to play, even though you don't work for that game company. Oh, that's cool! I love that you're able to learn that. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna pause here for just a minute while you guys have your little ad break for a minute, and then we'll be back and you won't have missed a thing, because I don't want you guys to miss any of this story. Exactly. Story-wise, good premise for a Spooktober game. Exactly, Soul. Alright. I got the notification that ad break was coming up. There it is. Alright, you guys. Alright, thank you for hanging out during those ads. There was talk of thank yous and rewards, and more people started to do the same. The criminal died of his wounds, but investigators found no connection between him and X-Day. The theory is that he was a copycat criminal, which does add up, because when people that are of that mindset basically figure out, ooh, this is something that we could, use to scare people, they tend to copy that. And so there are a lot of copycat criminals out there. Due to this incident, however, the number of people actively carrying guns increased.
国民の手で犯人を裁いたことがもてはやされ、軽犯罪の抑止力にもなってると言われている。
Sounds good! You go get some food, report back what you got, and once you get back from getting food, I will tell you all of my thoughts on BioShock so far.
本来なら犯人逮捕は俺たち警察の仕事だ。それなのに。
Officer Mochida? We don't know who might be listening. Mochida looked around and made a sour expression. He lowered his voice.
すまん。上から納得しろと言われましたが、どうも煮え切らなくてな。
I know how you feel. I'm just as impatient as you are. As a police officer, I also want to help solve the X-Day cases. All I can do is lend an ear to the citizens that turn to the SRCPO. That's all I can do.
星野、俺は地域企画課に用があるから先に戻っててくれるか。
Yes, sir. I parted ways with Mochida, and soon I came across a familiar face. Good work today, Sayaki.
まあ、星野、お疲れ。もう上がるのか？
No, not yet. I was just on my way to file a report. We attended the academy together and became friends while we were out drinking. We also got assigned to the same office, so we're drinking and venting buddies. What about you, Sayaki?
いや、俺もお前と同じで報告書を書かなきゃでさ。あ、そういや明日飲みに行く約束忘れてないよな。
Yeah, I have a lot of things I want to ask you.
なんだ、また悩み相談か。お前特防になってから多いよな。警察学校にいた頃は犯罪者を一人でも多く捕まえてみせるって燃えてたのにさ。
Well, but back then I never would have imagined things would turn out this way.
俺はお前の熱血ぶり嫌いじゃなかったけどな。窓際の特防に追いやられて情熱までなくしちゃったか。
No, it didn't. My feelings haven't changed a bit from back then.
お、急に元気になったな。やっぱお前はそうでなくちゃ。
Without thinking, I flashed a smile in response to Sayaki's grin. I feel a bit more relaxed now. Sayaki knows just the right thing to say when my mind is like this. He's a big reason why I can stay optimistic in this job, despite all the dilemmas I face.
なんだ、誰と話してるのかと思えば佐伯か。お疲れ様です、持田さん。ああ、お前はもう上がりか？
No, no worries. IRL comes first, lady foes.
いえ、もう一頑張りしないとです。
IRL comes first.
Suja,
How's
失礼しますね。
baby foes treating you today? Sayaki bowed slightly towards Mochida and gave me a look.
頑張れよ。
Yeah, thanks.
お前たちは相変わらず仲がいいな。明日も飲みに行くんだろ？
Huh? Did I mention that?
佐伯だよ。1週間くらい前だったかな。俺のところに来て飲みに行く日はお前に残業させないでほしいって頼まれてさ。
Sorry. Sayaki's a little too straightforward sometimes.
まあこんな時だからな。羽を伸ばすのも大事だろう。楽しんでこい。
I will. After I handed my report off to Mochida, I suddenly remembered something. I should stop by before I head home. Oh, is this the thing? Yup, this is the thing. The timing thing that I was absolutely terrible at. When I have even a little bit of free time, I practice at the station's shooting range. I want to improve my skills just in case they're needed. Plus, shooting helps calm my nerves and deal with anxiety. Trigger mode. Okay, am I able to turn that on? Let's see. Options. Game. Oh, that's a good idea. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do this. There we go. I took a firing stance and took a deep breath. My hands used to shake just holding it. Even when firing on static targets, I was reluctant to hold a weapon for killing people. I was afraid. The day that I had dispelled that hesitation was during training one day at the academy.
お、まだ残ってたのか？その顔じゃまた迷ってるみたいだな。
Sayaki, I just don't think I'm suited for this job after all. I'm just shooting a target now, but what if it were a real person? I know I'd miss in that situation.
星野、お前はさ、銃が何のためにあると思う？
Huh? For catching criminals, right?
そこからしてちょっと頭固いんじゃないか？俺は銃を撃つのは守るためだと思ってる。誰もが持てるもんじゃない。俺たち警察だけに許された守る手段だろ。
Shooting to protect.
人質を取った犯人の隙をつく。逃亡しようとする奴の足止めをする。正確な射撃能力があればそれも可能になる。でも撃つ覚悟と能力が備わってなけりゃ人質をみすみす死なせてしまうかもしれない。犯人を逃して被害を広げるかもしれない。
Oh, okay. Red if I hit it, gray smoke if I fail. Okay. We'll see. We'll see if that's right.
守るために撃つ。そうは考えられないか？
Yeah, you're right. The reason we're issued guns is because we're responsible for protecting the people.
でもさ、星野。銃を持つことを許された俺たちだからこそ、最悪の事態を考えなきゃダメだと思うんだ。
Worst case scenario? You mean where we might have to kill to protect the innocent?
ああ。たとえそれで犯罪者の命を奪ったとしても、何かを守るためには代償を負う覚悟が必要だろう。もしそういう選択を迫られたとき、お前は犯罪者を撃つ覚悟があるか？
After listening to his words, I understood what the weight of a weapon meant to Sayaki. For him, this was not just a tool for killing. It was a means to protect people. I shouldn't hold a gun without the resolve, and a police officer must be ready to shoot. After that, I devoted myself to training. As Sayaki said, conviction alone is worthless. They honestly don't explain it very well, but you want to shoot before the circle goes into the inner ring. Okay. Without marksmanship, a gun would still just be a killing weapon. To make sure that I would be able to protect, I've been training at the range daily. My skills have improved dramatically. In fact, marksmanship is my greatest skill. Of course, I doubt my performance in the field will mirror my skill in training. I never know when that time will come, but when a key moment comes, I don't want regrets. As long as Shinjuku stays this way, as long as the X-Day incidents are unsolved, I get the feeling that I'll need to be ready. I aimed my pistol again and raised my head. Okay, here we go. No, one more time. Okay. Good! I did it! I did it! Before I knew it, an hour had passed. In the end, all my shots had formed a tight grouping in the center. I let out a deep sigh. Right? Very trippy minigame. Between the bigger outer ring and the smaller inner ring. Okay. That makes sense. I am amazed I got it.
さすが相変わらずの腕前だな。
Whoa! Surprised by the sudden voice behind me, I spun around, startled. Sayaki, you still haven't left?
結構時間かかっちゃってさ。息抜きにサボろうかと思ったらお前がこっち来るの見えたから。
Oh, were you watching this whole time? You should have said something.
あれだけ集中してるの見て邪魔できないって。それに俺好きなんだ。
Huh?
好きなんだよ。お前の射撃見るの。なんか心が落ち着くっていうか、いろんなものが浄化される感じ。
What the heck? Should I be happy to hear that?
もちろん褒めてるんだぜ。俺は尊敬してるんだ。お前のそういう努力家で一生懸命でまっすぐなとこ。
Where's this suddenly coming from? You won't get anything out of flattering me. He's always confident, so something felt off. Sayaki let out a small chuckle at my attempt to deflect my embarrassment.
お前は昔から熱心だったけどさ。ここ数ヶ月頻繁に来るようになったのは銃刀法が解除されたからだろ。
Yeah. As he said, it was around then. He knew, even though I hadn't spoken about it. I definitely intensified my training after the weapons ban was lifted. Because this hunk of metal, which a trained police officer needed conviction to wield, had been distributed to the untrained masses. The world had turned into a place where people would half-jokingly draw guns at other people, just as those men had done earlier today.
見たところ遊びたい盛りだろう。それなのにこんな事態に巻き込んだのは警察として申し訳ないと思う。しかしな、その鬱憤を晴らすために誰かを傷つけようとするな。その銃は身を守るために使うものだ。武器として扱うのは許さん。
When I remembered Mochida's words, the pistol felt heavier than ever. This was not something to be taken lightly. I'm sure that many of the citizens, baffled by the government's policy, felt similarly. Some objected to the distribution of guns, but now some people will obviously use them. And not just for self-defense. I don't know what they were thinking when they decided to make civilians carry this burden. I have the conviction to shoot. I'm a cop. That's my responsibility. I'll fulfill my duty no matter what. But
その覚悟を持てない一般人が引き金一つで人を殺せる武器を手にした。
it bears
俺もお
mention.
かしいって思うぜ。
Even if I get too many incorrect choices prior to the trigger mode, even if I fire correctly, I will still get a bad ending. Okay.
武器を持てるのはある意味
But
選ばれ
compared
て
to
る。
last time I did that,
So
that was like, wow, that was much better. I see what you're saying. Even if the government says this is for self-defense, I think this is wrong. The people who run the country don't want to talk about what they've done here. I'm not in a position to protest it, but I can't approve of a world where people are suddenly made to wield a weapon. Words alone aren't enough. When the moment comes, my skills need to prevent civilians from ever having to use their guns.
お、俺も負けてられないな。 まあさすがにお前には勝てそうにないけど、努力以前にお前の射撃は天性のもんだよ。
Sayaki strolled away with a bright laugh. As I watched him leave, he looked back at me with a vague smile.
なあ星野、お前は犯罪者を目の前にしたとき、守るために撃つ覚悟があるんだよな。
Yeah. I could now resolutely answer the question that he had asked me before. I returned Sayaki's smile and settled into a firing stance with my gun. I pulled the trigger without hesitation, as if to demonstrate my determination. Conviction was carved into my heart. I left the station and walked to my home when a brisk wind made me shiver. Whew, that's cold. Even through a muffler and a thick coat, the December chill stung my body. Right? Not just the right to bear arms, but the requirement. Right? Like, to me, I understand where they're coming from. They want their citizens to be able to protect themselves. I think that there needs to be that choice there of yeah, I can make that decision. I'm willing to put in the training to be able to do that. I know if it came down to it, I could, and I'm going to be using it the right way. But when you basically say everybody has to, then all of a sudden you've got the people that aren't confident. You've got people that are going to use them for nefarious purposes. And there's really nothing that they can do about that. You know what I mean? This place sure has changed. Right? We put you on lockdown with a bunch of terrorists. Here you go. Good luck. Right? Shinjuku used to be bustling day and night. Nowadays, it was mostly empty after nightfall. Much of society had just stopped functioning once Shinjuku became quarantined. Shops, schools, and utilities continued to work to the government's satisfaction, but everything else was non-existent. So long as the criminals remained at large, there would always be an uneasiness here. It's hard to tell people to live their normal lives in this situation, right? You couldn't just visit friends anymore. You had to weigh it against being targeted. People didn't know whether they or their loved ones would be the next victims, but they had to go on living somehow. It was hard to put into words just how much I missed life before the quarantine. I know I'm not the only one who has come to this realization. I believe it was either 18 or 20. I'm leaning towards 18. I mean, I would too, but at the same time, I don't know that I could necessarily pull the trigger. And so because of that, I feel like I would be a danger, unless there was some form of training that went with that. But at the end of the day, that doesn't change the fact that there are people with nefarious purposes with those guns, you know? Right? Who's got the big red button?
上がったばかりで悪いんだが仕事だ。何でも新宿園内で揉め事があったらしい。
Oh boy, we got trouble in Shinjuku Garden. The X-Day incident in August, Shinjuku Garden was the scene of the crime and the epicenter of much public fear. It should be closed off to the public.
場所が場所だけに X デー事件と無関係とも言い切れない。交番勤務のやつらは別件でほとんど出払ってるらしくてな。俺たちに応援要請があったってわけだ。
Acknowledged. I'll head there right away.
相手がどんな連中かわからないからな。俺が行くまで必ず現場で待機してろよ。
I know. I won't act on my own. I ended the call and hastily made my way over to Shinjuku Garden. When I arrived, I quickly scouted the area and assessed the situation. Nobody's here? The area was dark and visibility was poor. It'd be tough for me to tell if anyone was lying in ambush in there. Just in case, I drew my sidearm. I'd gotten into the habit of always carrying my weapon, and I had practiced often, but I had never actually used it in the field. So to be honest, I was nervous. Still, if I was confronted with someone who intended to take the lives of others, I can't hesitate. While cautiously eyeing my surroundings, I approached the sealed gate to Shinjuku Garden. Why isn't Mochida here yet? It seems like it was taking him an awfully long time to get to Shinjuku Garden. I wonder if he's gotten into some trouble. While I was debating whether to call him, I heard the sound of footsteps approaching. Ah, is that Mochida? I turned around. And tased. I felt something push against my waist, and then a shock coursed through my body. Ah! I opened my eyes and saw a flickering light. Where am I? I tried to get up, but my body was numb and unresponsive. I couldn't move. What's going on? I tried to move my head to at least get a sense of my surroundings. Something's there? I felt a strange pressure around my neck. Hey, one of my friends has katanas at her place, so why not? For protection. I wanted to check what it was, but I couldn't even raise my hands. No. Why? It was as if my body wasn't my own. Still, I gradually regained the use of my hands, and I timidly felt my neck. Is this a collar? I grew pale as I felt the metallic coldness. What is this? What's it doing on me? And what am I doing here? Looking around, I saw that the floor around me was covered with what looked like red flowers. Flowers, scarlet like blood. That is true. Not just anyone can commission a sword. Looking up, I could see the moonlight cascading through stained glass. Am I in a church? My body was paralyzed for reasons unknown. I was wearing an unfamiliar collar, yet the ephemeral beauty of the stained glass dominated my attention for the moment. Where have I seen this stained glass?
どうやらお目覚めのようですね。星野一花さん。
The voice was close. It was from the collar.
突然このような場所にお連れして、さぞや驚かれていることと思います。ですが、どうしてもあなたと二人で話がしたいと思い、このような形を取らせていただきました。
Yeah, we needed to speak to you in private, so rather than like going through the normal methods of let's just have a chat, let's, you know, do XYZ. No, we're just gonna like knock you unconscious, put a weird collar around your neck and call it a day. Who are you? Did you put the collar on me? Why did you?
その問いに今は答えることはできません。ただ、どのみちあなたは我々にたどり着くことになるでしょう。
What do you mean?
あなたは選ばれた実験体なのです。これから私は X デーまでの間、あなたの行動を監視させていただきます。そして、あなたが自分の正義を貫いたその時こそ、こんな形ではなく、直接お会いすることをお約束します。
What is your goal? What experiment? What have you done to me?
お静かに。でないと、死にますよ。
No pressure, no pressure. Just don't ask any questions.
あなたの首につけさせていただいた首輪に。
Welcome back, Dusty. What's for breakfast? And as far as BioShock is concerned, I am somewhat enjoying it. I'm thinking like it's one that I enjoyed, but it's definitely more a Spooktober game. And so I'm thinking that might also be one that maybe I bring back next Spooktober. And I just kind of keep an eye on where, like I make a note for myself for next year of where we left off and what all happened. You know what I mean? It's one of those games that, or maybe I'll even play it again off stream. I enjoyed it. It's really creepy. Like, very creepy to me. So I'm guessing the disembodied voice is the chief of police? I don't even know if we've met the chief, but my money's on the chief. I think it's the head of Adonis, the terrorist group that we're trying to find more info out about. Ooh, had spicy chicken. If I enjoyed, like, how spicy was it on like a scale of 1 to 10? Poison?
ただ、現在あなたの体を蝕んでいるのは遅効性の毒で、致死量ではありません。ここで死んでもらっては困りますからね。
They say their goal isn't to kill me. That's why I'm in this paralyzed state. I have no idea what they're up to. Everything I learned only made me more tense. Still, as a police officer, I couldn't just sit quietly and take this. After all, the voice coming from the collar mentioned something about X-Day. I have to investigate further. I need to at least get some useful information so I can report it.
なお、このことは警察に口外しないでください。
Oh, Nashville hot sauce, so about a 6. Nice! Is there ways to kind of tone it down a little bit because I could probably do about a 4 at most. So what would you put the tteokbokki at, spice-wise? I would put it at probably about a 5, 4 to 5. But the nice thing about the tteokbokki is that it kind of does a boom, boom. Like it hits you and then it dies. You know, like that spice doesn't linger very often, very long.
あなたも身近な人間や大切な人を失うのは悲しいでしょう。
I don't know how much this criminal knows about me. But if they're going to threaten the people close to me, I won't forgive you. I'll never forgive you for this.
あなたのその言葉が嘘ではないといいのですが。
You'd put it at a 1.5 or a 2. Gotcha. I think for me, just because of my spice tolerance, I put it at about a 4 or 5. At least for that punch at the beginning. And then it dwindles down to about a 1. You like hot stuff? You had Carolina Reaper sauce on it before and it made your face blood red. Wow, you are brave, Dusty. I would not be able to handle Carolina Reaper. Oh my gosh, that would be like... Oh, that would burn my throat. It would be like... There'd be tears welling up in my eyes. You are brave, Dusty.
この世に満ちた悪意、曖昧な法、理想ばかりが鮮やかで形のない正義。真実を知ったあなたがどう抗うのか、我々と共に再生を導けるのか。
Oh, you had tears and were crying? Oh, I would too. I would be like fetal position sobbing if I had a Carolina Reaper.
さあ、見せてください。星野一花さん。あなたの正義を。
Here we go with theme music. Dance party. Right? Exactly. I would definitely need to go to the ER if I had a Carolina Reaper. Because A, something would be wrong with my head if I decided to eat a Carolina Reaper knowing my spice level tolerance. But B, I would probably have done something bad to my stomach and throat. There we go. Now that's what I call a theme song. I wondered how much time had passed. Despite my entreaties, the caller was silent. My body was still paralyzed, and worse, I felt like it was getting harder to breathe. They said it wasn't a lethal dose, but I don't know if that's true. At this rate, if nobody finds me soon... As that thought suddenly crossed my mind, my vision grew dark. I'm scared. Somebody, help me.
お前
You there.
おいしっかりしろ
Somebody found me. Perhaps I would be saved. While clinging on to that shred of hope, I looked at the man in front of me. Who are you?
無理に喋るな俺はお前を探していたんだ
Me?
お前の状況は把握してる心細かっただろうがもう大丈夫だ絶対に助ける
Once I heard those words, my crippling terror began to subside a bit. However, some doubt stubbornly remained. They were looking for me, and they know what's happened to me? How did they know? How did they know I was here? After having that realization, my would-be savior suddenly seemed much more frightening.
俺が怖いか
He must have seen a change in my expression. The man looked at me, and then...
これじゃまるであの時と同じだ
He seemed kind of sad as he murmured that, so I couldn't take my eyes off him. Why is he making that face?
でも今度こそ俺は
I couldn't catch the end of his whisper. Huh? This voice. For an instant, something clicked in my mind. I'd seen those sorrowful eyes somewhere. A voice that filled me with deep calm. This should have been our first meeting, but I felt like those qualities were familiar. Who are you? Chief of Police told them. I knew it! Maybe we'll have to see, Vocal Duck. Just as I opened my mouth to voice that question...
柳先輩
その女か
ああこの首輪といい間違いない榎本予告状はお前が持ってたな
はいここに
The man lifting me in his arms took what appeared to be a letter from a man who was wearing an eye patch.
これは俺たち宛てに届いた予告状だ
He unfolded the sheet so that I was able to see it. As part of the X-Day countdown, a woman will be poisoned to death on the 6th of December at 12 a.m. So we're the one that's gonna die at 12 a.m. on December 6th. There's only one way to save her. You must enter the unlock code given below into the collar the woman is wearing. Furthermore, if the police are notified, we will immediately kill the woman. Even if you save the woman, you are not to speak of the collar. We will be monitoring your actions through the collar. Should you violate any of these terms, you will be placing her life in jeopardy. Heed this warning well. X-Day countdown? Why me?
狙われるだけの理由がお前にあるってことじゃねえの
Huh?
バカは黙ってろ時間がない
笹塚の言う通りだ事情を聞くのは解読してからでいい
でも罠かもしれない
榎本二度は言わない命がかかってるんだぞ
Honestly, I don't know if I can trust these people. But at this rate, I don't want to die without even trying. I made up my mind and prepared to speak. If there's a way to stop it, please help me.
ああ解除コードはここに入力するらしいな
The man touched somewhere on the collar while supporting my body weight. Ugh. I thought I was ready, but I was still scared. Not knowing what was about to happen, I squeezed my eyes shut.
少しだけ我慢してくれ。大丈夫だから。
I was standing on the border between life and death. I had no idea whether or not I'd draw another breath. What a strange situation. I want to trust this man. The moment that thought formed in my mind... Ow! I let out a gasp as the collar lanced me.
まさか解除失敗か。
柳さん、どうなんだ？
When I heard their anxious voices, I worried that the darkness would claim me. But soon, I felt something strange. Huh? I can move? When I slowly opened my eyes, the man holding me exhaled a sigh of relief.
どうやら解除は成功したようだな。
Yes, I can feel my body again.
なんだよ、紛らわしい。
Sorry. When I felt the pain in my neck, I thought I was done for, but it seems like I made it. Breathing had finally become easier, so I patted my chest in relief.
顔色もさっきよりマシだよな。柳先輩、やっぱ最初から解毒剤が首輪に仕込まれてたってことですよね。
おそらくな。
Yanagi, was it? Thank you for saving my life. I was still woozy, but I managed to stand up and bow to him.
いや、俺だけの手柄じゃない。この二人もお前を探すために走り回ってたしな。
I turned to look at the other two as Yanagi mentioned them. Thank you.
そんなことはどうでもいい。それより、犯人がなんでお前を選んだか、俺はそれが知りたいんだよ。
I'm sorry. I'd like to give you an answer, but I honestly have no idea.
それで納得できるわけないだろう。お前は殺されかけたんだぞ。殺されるだけの理由があるんだよ。そう考えるのが普通だろ。
What? Why is he being so hostile towards me? I can't just accept that you guys showed up out of the blue either. It's not like I automatically trust you now. I'm grateful that you rescued me, but how exactly did you get that notice about my situation in the first place?
今はこっちの質問にだけ答えろ。お前と犯人の関係性がわからない限り、ホイホイ情報を与えられないからな。
おい、タケル。言いたいことはわかるけど落ち着けって。って柳先輩、何してるんですか？
そこに銃が落ちてた。犯人のものか。あるいは。
Ah, that's mine.
そうか。この町で銃を持っていること自体は不思議じゃないが、この銃は警察が使用しているものだな。
It is. How did you know that?
俺が元警察官だからだ。
Huh? Yanagi let out a little chuckle when he saw my jaw drop.
信じられないなら調べてもらって構わない。俺は警視庁捜査一課にいた柳愛知だ。
Investigation Section 1 at HQ? That would be very easy to verify, so it was unlikely that he was lying.
銃と一緒に警察手帳も落ちていたからな。これを見れば誰でもお前が警察官だとわかるだろう。
While Yanagi talked, he opened my police notebook.
星野一か。
Excuse me?
ああ、悪い。
I took my gun and notebook back from Yanagi. I was going to ask about them once again, but my phone began to vibrate. Ah, pardon me. That's right. Mochida was
誰からだ？
my superior. I was attacked while we were supposed to meet up in response to a call.
ならここに長居しない方がいい。話の続きは場所を変えて仕切り直そう。
そうっすね。ここじゃ落ち着いて話聞けなさそうだし。
こいつを野放しにするのか？
そりゃ姿くらまされたら問題だけど、ここで捕まえて無理やり連れてってもこいつの周囲に怪しまれるだろ。
笹塚の懸念もわからなくはない。だが俺は彼女が怯えていたのが演技だとは思えなかった。彼女が何も知らない被害者なら真実を知りたいのは俺たちだけじゃない。
I nodded earnestly as he turned to me. I want to know what happened here too. I hate being kept in the dark like this.
笹塚、彼女は警察官だ。逃げはしない。
これまでの X レイ事件の被害者は漏れなく殺されてる。そんな中、こいつは助かる術を与えられた唯一の被害者だ。警察以前に疑うのは当然だろ
う。でも柳先輩は疑ってないんすよね。
ああ、今のところは疑う根拠がない。
信じる根拠もない。
じゃあ今のところは話してもいいんじゃねえの？こいつがこのまま行方知らずになれば捜索がかかるし、そっちのが厄介じゃん。だったら
分かった。もういい。もし逃げても居場所を突き止めて洗いざらい吐かせりゃいい話だしな。
Like I said, I'm not running.
星野、後で改めて迎えを起こす。ひとまず新宿署で待機してくれるか。署にいた方がまだ気も休まるだろう。
Yeah. Hearing the tinge of concern in Yanagi's voice made me feel a little better. Though the man they called Sasazuka remained thoroughly suspicious of me, I didn't feel any of that from Yanagi. The last one was Enomoto, right? I'm not sensing much from him. I became aware of someone observing me. What now? What now? He's watching me.
予告状に首輪の存在は明るみにするなってあったけど、お前そんな賢そうに見えないし、口滑らせて勝手に自爆しそうだな。
What?
さあ笹塚、そのくらいにしておけ。解毒はできたが彼女の首輪が外れたわけじゃない。少しは気遣ってやる。
まあ予告状にも首輪を通して監視してる的なこと書かれてたしな。
星野。
As I turned to respond, Yanagi took my muffler and proceeded to cover the collar by wrapping the muffler around my neck.
今はまだ犯人の目的がわからない。署内でも首輪は隠した方がいい。
Understood.
じゃあ俺たちは先に行く。犯人が近辺に潜んでいる可能性もあるからな。お前。
Yes. After I watched the three of them leave, I looked at my phone. Mochida's been calling me repeatedly. Checking the time, I saw that 2 hours had passed.
星野、
Mochida.
お前今までどこにいたんだ？連絡も取れないし、事件か何かに巻き込まれたかと思ったんだぞ。
Well... I'm sorry I made you worry.
お前は真面目なやつだし、安易に連絡を怠るようなことはしない。何かあったんじゃないのか？
I'm pretty sure this is related to X-Day, so I should probably report what happened. But I don't know what'll happen if I talk. Racked with indecision, I decided to... Still, haven't learned anything. We're gonna go with not reporting it because they are monitoring us.
なお、このことは警察に口外しないでください。
And they told us
こ
not
ちらも
to.
むやみに手をかけたくはないので。
Yeah, I could. But... I'm like, you know what? Looking at it, that is the rather obvious bad ending, and I really don't want to put Hoshino through that.
あなたは身近な人間や大切な人を失うのは悲しいでしょう。
They might still be listening, so I shouldn't speak carelessly. They said they'd be observing through the collar. Actually, on the way to Shinjuku Garden, I came across a male student using a dog for target. What? I forgot that part!
最近そういったやつも減ってきたと思っていたが、完全になくなりはしないか。
Poor dog! When the weapons ban was lifted, all the young people wanted to try out their weapons, in spite of the coded tracking system. Mochida knew about this happening, so it seems like he believed me.
それで、その男子学生はどうしたんだ？話して分かってくれたのか？
It seems like he had some pent-up stress related to his home life. I got his parents involved and talked it out. It seems like he understood he was wrong. Just to be safe, I think we should swing by and check on them for a few days.
それがいい。冷静になってから後悔するやつも多いからな。
Yeah.
発砲さえしてなければまだ引き返せる。道を踏み外そうとしてる若者をお前は救ったんだ。よくやったな。
That's not right at all. You were trying to reach me for a long time. Mochida, I apologize for making you worry. Really, there's no excuse for it. Stifling my deep guilt, I bowed my head.
まあ、お前に何もなかったならいいんだ。俺も到着がだいぶ遅れたしな。
Huh? Really?
ああ、なんでかパトカーの鍵が見つからなくてな。
Mochida. I was honestly a little shocked to realize how easy it was to imagine this scenario.
違うぞ。俺の管理に問題はなかった。はずだ。
Uh-huh. Mochida was kinda clumsy, so it wasn't that unusual for him to lose things. While I was caught up in this mess, he was trying to find his keys. The thought just made me exhausted.
これでも大急ぎで来たんだぞ。けどな、俺が着いた時には周囲に不審人物はいなかった。ひょっとしたら揉めてるって通報もいたずら電話だったのかもしれないな。
That's true.
が、念には念を入れて、ここら一帯をパトロールしてから帰ろう。お前が見つけたみたいに飛行に走ろうとしてる若者がいるかもしれないしな。
Yes, sir. After that, we drove around for a while in Mochida's patrol car. We didn't see any fleeing youths around, nor did we discover anyone or anything that seemed to be related to X-Day. Back at the station, I went to file a report. I picked up a pen and tried putting it to paper, but my hand wouldn't move. Working in the SRCPO, listening to citizens, writing reports, that was my daily life. But the X-Day cases, even in this office, I've never had direct contact with them. We've only provided info to investigations. Still, I raised my hand to feel my neck. It really happened. Nothing felt wrong with my body anymore, but the collar put the fear of death into me. According to those criminals, they're monitoring me right now. A small misstep could cost me my life. Alright, that seems like a good spot to save. We've got an ad break. I'm gonna snooze it because we are about to wrap up here in a few minutes. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and I'm gonna close out of that. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me, for starting this investigation with me. Next Saturday, we will be playing some more of this. Tuesday, we will be back with some more BioShock, and hopefully some more scares along the way. So we gotta be able to figure out how to get to where we need to be to find the dude that's like running rampant around everything that we're trying to find. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And for the rest of the month of October, we're alternating between these two games. And I'm excited to see what you guys think. So please definitely let me know what you think. Here's the Discord and my Twitter. If you guys want to let me know how you guys like the games for the month of Spooktober, either of those works really, really well to be able to let me know your thoughts. If you'd like to see me play these more, if you have any game suggestions, I'm here for it. And I've got big plans going into the end of the year and into the beginning of the year as well. So there will be probably around Thanksgiving, Christmas, a few Saturday streams missed, but the Tuesday streams should be pretty solid from here on out, as far as I'm aware. And so we might miss just like one or two Saturday streams in December, maybe November as well. Might be taking a day off for Thanksgiving. We'll see. Keep an eye out. You will always know when I go live. You will always know when I have to cancel. And I am so excited to see what the rest of this year brings stream-wise. And love you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. Let's take a look and see who is live. We're going to go ahead and mute this tab. That is true. You Soul have been like the biggest supporter of these games. And I thank you guys so much for coming along on this ride. I know these games aren't like the usual games that I play, but I have been really enjoying these games and love the stories, love everything about them. And so I'm going to take a look and see who's going to be live at the moment. We have Kat, who's live. We have Dustin's Fish Tank. We have Fedorable Will. We have His Little Kitty. And we have Gusty J. So His Little Kitty is playing Car Mechanic Simulator, and Gusty J is playing, SpongeBob SquarePants. Dustin's Fish Tank is very relaxing. We could always go with that. It looks like Kat is still doing her uncapped subathon. So what are your guys' thoughts? What would you guys like to see? Are you wanting a game? Are you wanting subathon where we just don't know necessarily what all is going to be done and it's kind of up in the air? Do we want a specific game? What are you guys feeling? I'm I'm kind of thinking because I'm going to be pretty much raiding and running, and I always kind of feel bad doing that. Let's go ahead and raid Dustin's fish tank. You guys can relax in the fish tank, and we'll call it there. Alright, let's start the raid. There we go. Coffee is good. Coffee is good. So go ahead and copy this if you are subbed. This if you are not subbed. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Always remember that God loves you, and so do I. And I will see you guys Tuesday night.